ChatGPT is here to stay, and by the looks of it, it's going to beat Google at its own game. Or games, should we say. Like in the game of most optimized search results, both Google Search and ChatGPT were pulling in the ropes, and it got more heated up when an unlikely contender entered the ring. Microsoft's investment in ChatGPT has triggered the modern AI war among big tech companies. AI chatbots, billions of dollars, and some calculated tech movies. This is the story of Google versus Microsoft. Ever since the inception of Chrome and Google search engine, Microsoft's Bing and Edge are essentially obsolete. And that makes a lot of sense. Bing in particular has a weaker search optimization than Google. But what if Microsoft flips that around? Sure, you don't imagine yourself willingly using Bing over Google, but that doesn't mean you can't be incentivized. The hottest rumor on the block says it will take Microsoft a hefty sum of $10 billion to flip the odds. And its wildcard is none other than OpenAI's wunderkind ChatGPT. Ever heard of how facts don't care about your feelings? That's exactly the case with the popular AI chatbot. The newest AI tech isn't everyone's quintessential blessing in disguise. If your future depends on your writing skills or pursuing an MBA, you know you have been defeated by an AI chatbot. There's hardly any going back. On the other hand, ChatGPT is the messiah of saving human capital from menial jobs that don't warrant your effort. And as dystopian as it may sound, people are finding ChatGPT as their friend of the hour. After all, it only responds when you prompt it and can be shut down within seconds. By all accounts, it's not a bad conversationalist and a listener. All things considered, the world is still deciding upon their feelings towards the AI chatbot. While many of us are in our buffer zone, Microsoft recognized the durability of the AI tech. What you don't know is that the big tech company had already extended its support to OpenAI back in 2019 and 2021. So they were just waiting for the company to roll out the tech and gauge its usefulness or efficiency. But now, both of the companies have made their partnership official. That's just a typical way to say that Microsoft is investing $10 billion in ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI. This particular figure means everything for the AI tech battle in the mainstream. Plus, Microsoft has advertised its cloud computing platform Azure under a very similar banner. The company's ambition to turn Azure into an AI supercomputer isn't something new. We've heard all about it because somehow it's the company's big saving grace. But that's not the only tangent here. A new AI supercomputer sounds like bad news if you work in creative industries. Who would want a better big, bad boy version of ChatGPT on the loose? For better or worse, Azure is an important player in the AI tech wars. Since it provides the exclusive computing infrastructure to all OpenAI projects, Microsoft has plans to turn its AI computer into an invincible machine. And if it gets its hands on an AI toolchain that's objectively better than Google, the tech market share might change drastically. That's the very pinnacle of the AI tech wars. The first blow to Google could come at the expense of its browser and search engine. We know that you aren't changing your default browser anytime soon. And why would you? It takes 3 seconds for Bing to derail your entire process of searching for something super basic. Google has that keyword optimization in its bag. But with Microsoft putting an influx of money into OpenAI, the company is going to make substantial changes. One of them is the plan to integrate both Edge and Bing with ChatGPT to yield high-precision search results. If this plan follows through, it can revolutionize the search engine space to no end. Yet the matters aren't just about search engines and web browsers. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Microsoft's investment in OpenAI has opened a new chapter of who gets to monopolize the user-friendly AI tech. For years, both Google and Amazon have had their fair share of trial and error in this space. With Google Assistant and Alexa, we got a glimpse of what AI looks like in our daily lives. But for Google, the time for trial and error is officially over. Not only do they have a chip on their shoulder with their recent AI snafu, but also Microsoft hasn't been this cutthroat with competition ever. We talk about Google's AI snafu in a bit. Let's lay out some important clarifications before we move on. Google's AI system hardly generates profits for Alphabet. Sure, it's there and owns 24% of the total population's market share in its avenue, but that's all it does. It boasts a weakly monetized market share that's also lesser than Alexa and Siri. Again, this isn't surprising. You can't expect Google Assistant to run an advertisement on the newest Nike when it's spitting instructions on life-saving CPR. That's one dilemma for all AI systems. How do you create space to run advertisements efficiently? Google hasn't cracked the code yet. From what we know, Microsoft is in the process of figuring out that big money-making question too. So far, it has run the ChatGPT premium model, but it's too early to comment if it's a big W or a weak shot in the dark. To be fair, Google wasn't exactly feeling bothered by its AI assistant not bringing any money to Alphabet. For them, it was a matter of making the AI tech space as anti-competitive as it gets. You know, the typical make tech, monetize it later policy that works out for the company. ChatGPT derailed those plans pretty badly, and it was obvious that Alphabet is rattled. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out, as the company hastily announced its plans for an AI chatbot right after Microsoft. The newest feather in Google's hat is called Bard, and the tech has already cost Google a spectacular amount of $160 billion. This saga of an epic failure starts with an unlikely player in the AI game. It's actually the new James Webb telescope that took Google's fortune in a huge market value showdown. Alphabet had advertised Bard as a launchpad for curiosity and a search tool to help simplify complex topics before everything went down the drain. In the highly anticipated launch event, the AI chatbot inaccurately pointed out that the James Webb telescope had discovered the exoplanets for NASA. Just not that. Apparently, the $10 billion space telescope was also monumental in taking the first ever pictures of exoplanets. Much to Google's disappointment, not only that is factually incorrect, but chronologically disruptive too. NASA has pictures of exoplanets dating back to 2004. Typically, any human would say, "Oops, my bad," and move on from this elementary mistake. But not when you're the upcoming prodigal child of a highly competitive big tech company. And especially not when your parent company is looking to make a big, bold statement in front of its billion-dollar investors. The important tipping point here is simple and robust. If Google wants to win this AI space race, it can't afford to lose money like this. Not when surfing the internet is going to cost an extra few bucks. And why's that? Consider how Google operates differently than ChatGPT. If you're going to search "describe the main events of World War I" on Google, the search engine is going to rely on its index that categorizes and prioritizes the most relevant web links. It's further going to rank them on your browser depending on the search engine optimization and sensitivity of the keywords such as main events and World War I. Sounds like a pretty complicated process, yet it takes less than a second. On the flip side, ChatGPT takes more than a second to generate results for the same query, but you aren't vetting out information. It's right in front of you, and you can choose to engage with it if you want more info or clarifications. Without any doubt, that's a far more useful process. But also, it's a costly affair. Using an AI chatbot as a search engine costs 10 times more than using Google. The processing time is higher, and the information is far more sensitive to your original query. This particular issue isn't just exclusive to Alphabet. Both Google or Microsoft aren't the good Samaritans of AI tech. How exactly they tackle the hefty costs of processing is the most pressing concern. The big tech companies aren't blind to the issue either. For instance, Google is now changing its strategy to reevaluate the computing scale of Bard. In all likelihood, it's not going to be a highly optimized and detailed-oriented AI chatbot initially. In this AI war, it's hard to ignore the charisma around ChatGPT. It has more or less identified its efficiency issues when Bard is just getting started. Sure, Microsoft's search engine revenue is nowhere near what Google racks. But with ChatGPT, Microsoft is in the position of gaining $2 billion in ad revenue if Google keeps losing percentage points in the market value. If that's not a masterclass of a move, then what is? Thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in the hottest tech deets of our time, subscribe to our channel for more content like this.